7-9, not do 24/7, that are not enough time. Put in overtime, me I forget mine. Never thief nobody, me mother say feel low crime. Cause life is hard, have to work hard. The money now make it to just sit down in a yard and I cry time hard. Have to grind hard, jump in our studio, I rhyme hard.
Viewers of Unfinished Business, welcome back to another segment. Today we're going to feature Mr. Jamas, long-standing entrepreneur in Punta Gorda. Before we allow him to introduce himself, I'd like to ask my co-host to give you another introduction of himself, no? Because remember this is the man turn show, not so much turn show, so I don't think we're fully used to it yet. So Mr. Azu.
Alright, thank you Mr. Tariq. Good evening everybody. For those who don't know, my name is Rashid Arzu, born and raised here in Punta Gorda. You know, I'm just thankful for have this opportunity to be a part of the show and for just learn new things from Mr. Tariq and Mr. Jama, because there are always people who are willing to give knowledge, and I'm just grateful for that and see what I can learn as apply it, and then different projects on the way. Be sure to be ready for a book I have coming out. So you guys
see,
enjoy that.
When you start entrepreneurship, the least steps, you start our unfinished business, next thing the books. Oh, Mr. Jamas, give the people of Punta Gorda one introduction of yourself.
Jama, born and raised in New York, lived in Belize for about 20 years now. Own a piece of ground back at Jamas, AG. I guess entrepreneur, hustler, Harlem hustler, New York.
Right. It's different around here. I mean, entrepreneur sounds nice, but we keep it,
right,
a little less corporate. So, Mr. Jamas, you're at Toledo for 20 years now. Now, what brings you to Toledo?
That's a long story. I came in 1999 with a group of people, with a group called Planet Seeds, to come out here to do a land cooperative and try to, you know, get together, do community build, the things of that nature. And that never panned out, but I just stuck around. Yeah, well, that's a prime example of you came to the moon and you land for the stars, because you came to do that prime that real estate thing, but now your real estate is extremely magnificent and this stuff is so years now. I mean, I remember back then in time people they say, well, Jamas are like, we the one that have theater in and everything.
Everything set up
because the thing set up real nice. So Mr. Jamas, in the recent months with the experience, the COVID debacle, and as one nation, it's crippling. We could imagine the same thing it is for a business person like yourself.
Yeah, what? I mean, I got a hostel in a hotel, so there's no business, and a restaurant, so there's nothing. We on E, everything just grinded to a halt. There's nothing happening. We've got to figure out 100 million different other things to try to do, but that's the nature of a hustle. You always got to adapt. You got to figure out what, you know. That door closed, you got to open up the next door. You know what I mean?
You want to give no insight on some of your other stuff for you do?
I mean, you know, we looking into things that you know, we've already been doing. Like my wife is doing, you know, rum popo, she's doing Kahlua, like she's making certain things, she's making soap, she's, you know what I mean? Like just things locally. I'm not gonna lie, right now everything is just slow motion, you know what I mean? And for the most part, if you want to get some of the long money, that's generally going to come when you connect to the United States, right? If you could find people, something that you could send to the United States, that's got to be a big focal point for a lot of people in the Belize to try to figure out how to take things that are common here and necessary there and just connect the dots and get stuff from here to there. You know, so that's kind of where we are now. We're trying to figure out, you know, how to deal with that. But for the most part, it's just slow motion, and we all right with it being slow motion, because I don't know what this is about to turn into. A lot of people feel like they got to figure it out. I don't have it figured out. I don't know what tomorrow looks like. So for us, we just kind of watching, you know what I mean, seeing what's happening. Is the restaurant going to be a thing again? Is the hotel going to be? We have no idea. We just got to wait and see what, you know, what happens.
Happen next. Well, Mr. Tariq, if I could interject for a minute. He said something very where have a mind clicked to what instance when I come here. As soon as I come to this place, I always have something for do. I always, like you say, he adapt to different things. You come, you have the restaurant, you have the bar going on, you have this going on. He always found a way to cater to his guests, to his customers. He always has something that come up. You have different type of music. I would have never come to this place and hear the same music twice. One. Two, they always have a different type of menu, different type of food. Even the way how they design their food. That's different. I want to come in there like I could just pick up different things where they are, you know what I mean? And so I must always like that, and just speaks to his creativity as a person, or how he could do. You know what I mean? Because he touch into different things, and then when you come, he alright, he can assess what they go on, and then he give you the space where just kind of just flourish and just kind of just do what you do, and he just lead in his own way. And that's why I always have a thing about coming back, because I know when I leave smarter than the way I came.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
Mr. Jamas mentioned something also, that he is he learns on the fly basically, and to me it's very advantageous because it allows you to improvise, and then you will always be ready for another challenge. When I say ready, I don't mean that you already have the answer, but your stomach already prepared to know that tomorrow could be different, you know. So we have a lot of people who have never faced this type of situation particularly, and the complacency had them like, and now boom, COVID knocked everybody back flat, and nobody don't know how to boom. Mr. Jama now have that issue because that was personal part. Improvising and never issue because he improvises on a daily basis, is what I'm saying.
So he don't train.
So because the answer from yesterday, they're not the same answer that he has for today.
Yeah.
So that's something about is very advantageous. But what I want to ask, because you mentioned products, and this is something we're very important to the new generation of Belizeans. We have a GDP to debt ratio of, I think, 130%, something more or less. That's the figure what the float out there.
Yeah.
In other words, now Belize will need to start to manufacture stuff and sell stuff. However, Belize needs to identify what type of stuff the world needs and how much can we manufacture before we start to lose. So in other words, with equilibrium. Mr. Jama, you would have any idea, like you got any thought to say something where you would want to see somebody like produce
In Belize?
for an international market?
Well, I mean, that's hard, right? I mean, and that's real, you know what I mean? It might not even be a thing. We don't know what's about to happen. I think the most important thing for Belize to focus on right now is growing their own food, getting their food security together, you know what I mean? And actually dealing with a way to eat. Because if this world as we know it goes right instead of left, if it goes up instead of down, then things is going to be different. And at the end of the day, if you're not able to feed yourself, you're going to be at the mercy of
The world.
right, or to hunger, right? Like, and then when people get hungry, things get real. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you're not sitting there with a sandwich, and I'm hungry, and you're just gonna enjoy your sandwich. You gotta realize, like, that's could be the reality that's coming to the whole world right now. You know what I mean? Nothing lasts forever. So in that sense, I'm saying that if I was gonna talk to the people of Belize, or you know, people in Belize specifically, I would say, get your food shit together. You know what I mean? Make sure you figure out how you're gonna eat. You know what I mean? Figure out how you could collectively grow gardens and grow food and working together. At the end of the day, it's all about working together. And anytime it gets into the hustle part and how you're gonna make money as entrepreneurs, being in Belize, PG specifically for 20 plus years, the one thing I know, the biggest hurdle for people here is everybody's too cool for school, right? Where I come from, hustling, and I got bear witness. I grew up with my pops, used to sell oil and incense on the street. So for me, with a table, that's how I grew up. I grew up with a man that actually sold stuff on the street. So that was life. Whereas a lot of other people in the community would feel like it's some bum shit. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you selling stuff on the street, you a vendor, you know, that people want to be cool. So I never had that. But growing up, I watched the transition, specifically in New York and Harlem in around the 90s. It was a movement where people no longer were too cool to sell shit on the streets. And it changed the world. Now hustling, you know what else happened? A lot of rappers started hustling their CDs out of their trunks, and it became cool to hustle. Whereas before that, everybody would rather have like a job or like something that they felt was cool. And here, it's still like it was in the 90s, and that people are too cool. People are ashamed to hustle. People, like, I used to tell people, yo, we're gonna get these t-shirts, put them on a bike, I'm gonna get you a bell and an umbrella, and come Friday, Saturday, when everybody's about to go out fresh and they want a fresh icy white, oh, you could ring, 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 you got the bell. People was laughing at me. They're like, never. Like, I'm too cool for that. I'm like, yo, you too cool to make money? Yo, was the dude that used to come by my block on Harlem with a shopping cart from a supermarket, a shopping cart full of socks, drawers, and he just pull up, yo, what's good, huh? Sit. And as we sit there for an hour or two, I'm just watching this man make money, make money, make money. And then he leave. And then people got slick shit to say about him. Like, they clown him, like, oh, that boy, that man. But he just made money. You know what I'm saying? We sat here and didn't make a dime. He just walked off with about $50, $60 of our money. And his day's just getting started. That's how people got to think. It's about getting the bread. I mean, don't do nothing that compromise your integrity. But at the end of the day, don't be too cool to get the money. You know, we used to set up in the park and sell clothes.
Yeah.
And dudes was ashamed for us. Dudes is coming out there, oh, you should come out here on market day. This is the wrong day. Let me get a belt. Okay.
Yeah.
End of the
Make
day,
money?
we made money. You know what I mean? Like, there's no right or wrong to it. Like, and this is my New York logic, right? This is that hustle. We get $1. When I see people out here make 30 chickens, and they go out and they sell 30 chickens, and they go home, my New York mind is like,
Trying to flip
you
that.
crazy? Go make more chicken.
Yeah, you're trying to
What are
flip
y'all
that
doing? You gotta make more chicken. You gotta bring more chicken to the table. But that's my New York mentality. I know dudes that died of a heart attack at 30, 40 years old. So I'm not saying the way I do it is the right way.
Yeah.
But when it comes to hustling, that's what I do. I grind. I get it. If I see $1, I know how to go, you know what I mean, chase it. I can do it within reason. And I think one of the biggest hurdles for people here is people are just too cool. Everybody just kind of feels like they're more concerned with how they look than what they're doing. If you're making money, make money. Sometimes you got to get dirty. Sometimes you got to grind. You got to go out there. You got to put yourself in a position you're uncomfortable. This is where a lot of people here everybody just wants to be pretty and cool. I mean, it's not just here. It's everywhere. The whole world is like that now. People are more concerned with people's image in them than they are about what their task is.
Definitely.
Be task oriented. Get your money. Chase it.
Definitely.
My question, sorry for interrupting, because in the beginning he said something we kind of stick out, being a hustler, having a mentality. So my question is, would you say you are a product of your environment, or did you have someone growing up who said, you know what, apart from you had your father, but apart from, did you come across any other person who said, you know what, put you onto different things, different knowledge?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of
if you
course.
could speak towards that.
I mean, even when you were talking about when you came here and I was doing a different thing every night. The truth is, I'm from New York, and I see people here have conversations about, you know, oh, this food, and I did this, and then they started doing this. Like, ain't nothing original, right? Like, everything that's on our menu is some shit that I went to some store and bought already.
Yep.
Everything that you see me do is something. I've been to a spot where they had a screen. I've been to, I'm not doing nothing new. We all learn from other people. That's the nature of human beings. That's why being humble and being gracious is what everything is all about. This idea of me, 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 me. As soon as you kill that me, everything gets easier. Because you realize you're not really that special. Jam is not that special. It's true. It's true. All I have is opportunity. And I have, there's a word that a lot of people aren't comfortable with. It's called privilege. If you come from the United States, you got a privilege that people in Belize don't have.
Yeah.
To have a passport. And I ain't learned that till I got here. And trust and believe, growing up, nobody I know had passports. No, I never knew a nigga with a passport, ever. Coming here is when I realized, yo, a passport means something.
Yeah.
You can travel the world. We don't travel. Most of us don't leave our block, right? But then now you come to a place like Belize and you realize that the general population can't move. They got to go to the embassy and ask permission and pay money, and they keep the money whether you get the passport, the visa or not. That's crazy to me. So it's a privilege just to have a U.S. passport, because then you got wheels, you can move, right? You fluid. But then coming from a place where there's so much going on, you come to a place like this, people are only, you only know what you've been exposed to, right? And that's why I always feel like I have a obligation to try to expose people to new things, new ideas. Not Jama's ideas, just shit that I already saw, right? And I'm just, trying to show people the same things I saw. But that's a big part of it, man. People gotta learn to be humble, and yeah, everybody's a product of their environment. You know what I mean? But things change. You know what I'm saying? Not everything stays the same. Sometimes you got to be one person to make a difference that everybody else sees. Oh, show by example. Oh, you see what they doing? Change the game. Well, we could do that too. It's almost like you be the cool dude to make some activity cool, and then people will follow through.
Yeah, because to what you said, ain't nothing new under the sun actually, basically. So when somebody's acting like they're reinventing the wheel, it hampers the progress for everybody. I fully agree with that.
Sure.
So another question, Mr. Jamas. In the near future, we may be opening back up to the world and what's not. Do you see that business will boom when that opening occurs, or do you think the suppression will continue?
In PG?
In PG particularly.
Business never boomed in PG. PG is slow motion. It never popped. I mean, the whole country of Belize kind of disregards the South. Nobody promotes. I'm saying from an accommodation perspective. You know what I mean? Like, you go on TripAdvisor, you go BTB, BTI. Where's PG? It don't exist. Toledo is not here. So I don't see there being no boom. I always say people needed to promote, because I think that PG has potential. Toledo in general has potential. I think it's the dopest spot in Belize, you know what I mean? The most culturally diverse, not to sound corny, but it's true. You got Maya, and you name a group of people, you got everything down here. You go other places, you don't have all that. But a lot of people don't really care, right? A lot of people come for, they don't come for the people, they come for the flora and the fauna, and that's good too. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see things booming. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's gonna happen. I got a hostel, which is 20 people crammed into one space. It don't get worse than that in terms of, you know what I mean? What's coming next? When are you gonna have 20 people comfortable to be inside a room with 20 other people, strangers? You know what I mean? So, but it's all good. See, for me, I don't lose no sleep because it's
you improvise.
exactly. Like we'll figure out something else. It'll be something else. You know what I mean? But the food security is a big part of it. I keep going back to that. If you're not feeding yourself, then you know you're not really doing nothing.
Yeah, that's something that I would always like to advise the youth as well. But in the meantime, we need to ensure that Backplay Studios can pay the bills. So I'd like to encourage all our viewers to like, subscribe, follow, and we'll be right back after these short messages.
Tape on the grind, 27/9, not to 24/7, that are not enough time. Put in overtime, me I forget mine. Never thief nobody, me mother say feel no crime. Cause life is hard, have to work hard. The money now make if you just sit down in a yard and I cry time hard. Have to grind hard, jump in our studio, I rhyme hard.
Welcome back, viewers of Unfinished Business. As we continue this discussion, what I'd like to contribute is the fact that I noticed that our people in particular, we have too much luxury, I should say. I mean, it's like here in Toledo particularly, because I noticed in the rest of the country, it's dwindling away fast. You could legitimately find something to eat along your way. Like, you even if you go to the shop, if you go to the shop, you go see what mango cheese, stone a mango, go meet a coconut tree, take a coconut. You can't do that, the Belize city. I mean, you can't do that. I think OW, they start to experience this gentrification, I should say. So, Mr. Jamas, you believe that contribute to the complacency of the, especially Toledo people. You think that make we be this type of person where not necessarily need to go hard?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I guess ultimately what I would say is it's not a bad thing, right? Anthropologists have a metric they use to try to determine a successful culture or civilization, and that's calorie intake and work, right? So if you do very little work, if you get the necessary calorie intake to sustain life, that's success. That's what it's called. So that you're winning. People in the PG are winning. There's no malnutrition. Dudes ain't hungry. Dudes eat a fried chicken and go swing in a hammock. And then the dude coming from New York, right? And I feel like, yo, what you doing?
You're trying to hustle and
you're not hungry.
Yeah.
That's why I call it rich kid. I say PG is full of rich kids. People don't need the hustle. If you in New York, you can't sit still. You can't sleep on my couch. No, nobody own nothing in PG. You don't live in your aunt's house and she not paying rent. It's not like it is here where you own a house, you own a house. New York is different. If somebody got a house, they paying $1,500, $2,000 a month, and if you think you're gonna sleep on my couch and you're not breaking me off something at the end of the month, it's gonna be a problem. So everybody in New York has one thing in common. We all have to hustle. You can't sit still. You have to figure out a way to make money. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm saying I envy how people in PG live. I learned when I first came here, I was on my New York like, oh, now I learned, I'm like, okay, I get it, yo, these people are rich kids. These people are cool, they good, they gonna be all right. That's why those people work the way they work. You don't have to do good work, you just gotta do enough to get paid. People only care about enough to get through the next day. Now it's up to you to make your decision on whether or not that's a bad thing or a good thing, right? Because the flip side of the coin is people are busting their ass, grinding, going crazy, losing their mind, dying of crazy diseases, chasing dollars. Like, it's really, you got to put it on the scale. But it's definitely
pros and cons.
There's pros and cons to all of it. You know what I mean? But just understanding what it is. I mean, it's a success story. You know what I mean? People come from other places and look and, you know, oh, people was lazy. You not. It's a success story. People can be lazy. You just mad because you can't be lazy. You wish you could have turned off that alarm clock and rolled over and went back to sleep.
I always say that, man.
It's
I
true.
Always say that. I always say that. I wish I didn't have to wake up and do all that.
Exactly.
I have a question. I feel like, cause I recently found out that when you do certain things over and over and over, it becomes a habit, right? And so maybe this could be what is happening here, that way we don't used to something, it becomes a habit, and then whenever your body, your mind is exposed to something that is not a habit or is not the norm, you fight against it. Like consciously, subconsciously, even with your body, you fight against it. So would you say in some cases that is what is happening here, that where it's
People
become
are fighting
so
against it.
in where they're not used to it, that they don't know, I would say that they don't know, or they're not willing and open to try different things because
Right, well,
they
it's
don't used
normal.
to.
It's normal. I mean, I think that most people are stuck in their ways. I mean, as a carpenter in the United States building, they use sticks to make a house, A-frame housing. They've been alternate ways of building 40, 50 years, but nobody adopts it because that's what they do. Trust and believe, everybody have a vested interest in something. See all these cameras, your man's working these cameras, somebody come out with a little box that does all that shit that he doing, he not gonna wanna hear it, because now all of us is gonna have the same skill level that he has a vested interest in these cameras and how they function. And that's how it is across the board. People do what they do because they're used to doing it. And if you want to show somebody something new, not only is it just the thing that's new, it's also what happens to the thing that we've been doing. You saying that's not, don't matter no more? Like, and that becomes a whole nother funky situation, right?
I fully agree, because it's something that I noticed as well. We are legitimately behind times. It's like we do find that now we have great equipment. Like, look at how small this camera is. The last media entity I worked with, the camera, it was like, you know,
needed two guys to lift it.
So this is exactly what we're saying. It's like with growth, it's certain like, I hope I don't come off wrong here, but with growth, you see aspects changing, and key players who are not willing to get with it are gonna have to eventually just get lost.
Yeah, if they want to survive.
It's something that we in Toledo will need to embrace, because a lot of changes have been coming recently. Like, for example, big businesses plan to, you see the casino or whatever they're planning to build by the bridge side, by the bridge foot.
Yeah.
So it's like the regular pitty pot players who gamble at home on Sunday night they're gonna lose that little hustle, because that hustle is gonna transfer there. Yeah. So now you're gonna have to step up what you offer, you know. So Mr. Jamas, back to where we were earlier. The entrepreneurs of Toledo, we see a lot of people doing food, and a lot of people basically doing one thing over and over, but we barely see people tapping into agriculture. You mentioned earlier that that's basically the most important business.
Right.
You want to expound on that a little bit more?
I mean, well, I got to be honest. I'm not saying that it's a business. I'm saying it's food security. It's food for yourself and people around you. With survival, it's the basic stepping stone for survival. It's what you have to do to be able to just do something as simple as feed yourself. Now, whether or not you could take it to market and make money and all those things, I'm not standing on that. Yeah. I don't know what the margins are. I don't know how much money you make by growing beans and selling beans. I really don't know. But I know you need to eat beans, and if the store don't got beans, you need to be able to figure out where you're gonna get beans. So my perspective from that is more like that. But I'm sure agriculture, you must make money in agriculture because people are doing it. But I don't know enough to say that. You know what I mean? But there was something that you just said. I'm trying to remember. It was something that in terms of business, right? And the new spot that's opening up, and I didn't even know that was a casino.
Yeah, it's something to that effect. I'm not sure.
Right. But I remember when I first came here, there were Belizean-owned businesses in PG, and I seen it on the horizon. I seen, everybody, the Chinese are coming, and I was like, yo, maybe y'all might want to step up your game, right? Because the truth is, even though there's a rich kid scenario going on here, there's people who come in here that don't come from rich kid places. Yeah. People that grind and hustle. And Chinese, they don't play. They grind, they hustle. Yep. I'm not mad at them. They do what they got to do. So they not shutting their shop down at 12 o'clock, opening up at 1:30, then closing at 4:30 and open up at 6. That's ridiculous, coming from where I come from, right? So competition becomes a big part of it, you know what I mean? So you have to compete with the people that are coming in. Out of all of the businesses that could possibly be done in PG, the one that you never hear anybody talk about is a little grocery store shop. And the people do it, they always do it just to supply chips and things to the immediate community, but nobody's trying to be competitive when it comes to the big shops that everybody seems to have a problem with. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody has a problem with it, but then nobody supporting the other businesses to a point where they can grow and expand. And this all is in the same realm of hustle. But I would love to see a Belizean owned store and walk in there and shop. And I keep doing this when I say Belizean because Chinese are Belizean too, right? A lot of these dudes born here. So when we start getting into these conversations, I'm like, I don't know what we talking about. Are you anti-Chinese or are you just, is it pro-Belize? Like, what is it? Like, I think that when most people say Belize, the language you saying is gonna be mestizo, right? Creole, Garifuna. I mean, there's certain people like when you think Mennonite, you think Belizean.
Not necessarily.
Some of them have been here for generations.
Yeah,
like,
and
that's
that's
what I'm
the
saying.
thing,
That's
that's
why
the
I go
thing,
like
yeah.
this, because like
I
saying
fully
American.
I fully
What you mean?
understand
What that mean American? We not talking about all Americans. Where I come from specifically, we talking about black Americans, like black or brown. You know what I'm saying? This is what we talking about. So I think even the language has to be kind of, clarified, so people to understand. So I'd love to see, black, brown people in Belize opening up businesses, and it's something that I could go give my dollar to somebody that I feel like actually has some level of respect for me, right? I'm still confused why anybody goes to a Chinese store to buy fried chicken. I don't care if y'all put this out there or not. One of the main reasons we started frying chicken here is because Miss Ellie's had shut down, and we used to go to Miss Ellie's. We used to stay at Miss Ellie's, and I was like, yo, nobody's frying chicken. I used to say, it's like, nobody's frying chicken. Like, nah, no, only the Chinese. I was like, yeah, we about to fry chicken. And indeed, we came up here, we started frying chicken. We bit the little kick down recipe. We soaked our shit in, hot pepper. Like, we did everything that dude said that they was doing that kick down. And we brought it out here. And it, you know what I mean? It didn't pop. PG just wasn't ready for what we had. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? You gotta support the people out of here, right? Like, you gotta support the people that are doing the things that you want done.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people don't know this about Jama or Piece of Wrong, but this company was one of the first companies to start doing deliveries around town,
Yeah.
To go around and take orders, and you see the bikes go around town and do deliveries, and that shows that of the forward thinking that these guys had and the way they would think about their customers and how they can cater to them and just try different things to appeal to them and to have that competitive edge.
Not to cut you short, to think of it, Jama started that program was 5 to 7 years ago. I know that's the norm.
What's that?
That
Career,
delivery.
That started here.
When you even had anything back your bike.
That started here.
In our mind, we was saying there's absolutely no reason for y'all not to get chicken from us. I think we was at $6, right? The bread, we was like, there's no reason. Dudes would be. I'm saying if you chilling in the park, somebody gonna ride up here. You don't even gotta move.
Yeah.
In New York, that's golden. Like, we would love it. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like there's absolutely no reason. So I'd be like, boy, you all the way to the back. You don't have to come. Dial the number. We'll come out there. Even got to the point, I don't know if y'all remember, at one point we actually took the butane tanks and burners and we sat up on the stage in the park.
I remember that.
We said, yo, this is too far for people to come. People not dealing with the delivery. We're gonna bring the restaurant to the middle of the town on Friday and Saturday. And we was out there on the stage making burgers and making deep fries. Yo, we was just trying to show people this is what we got, But I think that people just, they wasn't ready. And that goes to what you're saying. There's certain things that are normal. I think it's almost ritualistic for people to go to a Chinese restaurant and get a fried chicken.
Gobble up. Well, if you ask me, I would always call a Jamas to eat the wedge fries. You know what I mean?
And even the size of the fries are different, like the shape of
wedges. That's and it's something that anybody can adapt because it's not impossible. But again, when you don't have that mentality, when you don't have that vision, then all of that comes with the vision, all that comes with the knowledge. I mean, so it's just something to that effect. So, Mr. Jamas, any last words before we wrap up?
I don't know. I mean, if y'all gonna hustle.
Definitely.
Right? Don't be ashamed. Don't be shy. Don't be cute. And if you too cute to hustle, then fall back. Somebody got a job for you. You can put on a nice, cute little uniform, and you can get in line and you can do your thing. But if you want to get money, if that's what you want to do, get money, then grab that. Go get it. It's great. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mr. Jamas, thanks for entertaining us, man.
Appreciate
It was a nice show. Our wealth and knowledge was imparted today, and I hope that the viewers of Unfinished Business take heed and take the thing very seriously. I mean, we need more people, we need more like-minded individuals, and we need to develop our mental capacity to even start to move in these directions. So, once again, Mr. Jamas, thanks, man.
Thank you very much.
Your place is awesome.
I hope that we could maybe get a shot or something around so that we can see.
Definitely, man.
If that's okay with you.
We work magic behind the cameras.
Yeah.
And we hope that everything works out for you in the near future as well.
All right.
Keep on improvising, man.
Sure.
So, viewers of Unfinished Business,
Thank you.
thanks for tuning in. And we out. See you next week.
All right.
keep on the grind. 27/9, not to 24/7, that not enough time. Put in overtime, me a forget mine. Never thief nobody, me mother say feel out crime. Cause life is hard, have to work hard. The money now make it to just sit down in a yard and a cry time hard. Have to grind hard, jumping